Welcome to learning how to play the Native American flute. Now, we're now going to digress to this particular flute. It's in C major. It's made by, well, the man who invented this flute from the Native American design spent a lot of his own money and a lot of his time teaching children how to play the Native American flute. The intonation on this flute is fantastic. It is unreal. It's not made of PVC, it's made of ABS. Even your greatest flute players of Native American play this flute because it's not susceptible to conditions, to the wood drying out and to damp conditions, which changes the intonation. This never changes. So I think it's Carlos. He's one of the top Native American flute players, and he plays an ABS flute. I've mentioned this before. Now the intonation is different, as I'll show you. I'll just go quickly through the scale and show you this flute. It's crisp and it's clear. Again. Now, Native Americans, they'll tend to use the scale. They go up and down the scale. Are you trying to break your neck, Adrian?
No.
Oh, I thought you were. You go up and down the scale. But it depends on how you do it. So you can put double beats in each note if you wish. By tonguing. You know, I remember I told you on the other flute, spitting grape seeds. Well, you do the same thing. Moisture can gather in here, and you'll find your tone goes a bit woofy. So you hold your flute and shake it like this. This will get rid of all the moisture inside. And you can carry on playing. As I said, it's in C major, so it is different to the F sharp. It's virtually can be taken everywhere. It's a lot shorter as well than the F sharp, but it's a beautiful flute to handle. And the English equivalent, funny, English playing American flutes? No. They produced their own flute in the in medieval times. No, it wasn't a side-blown flute. It's the same as this. But it was called a recorder. The air system was different. But it wasn't a reed flute, it was just on the air itself. But the recorder did the same thing. Now, that was the first English flute that was ever produced. It's a lot harder to play because you have 1, 2, 3, 4. You've got 8 holes plus a thumb hole. So what is the advantage of all those notes? The advantage was you could play half notes, whereas this is very difficult to locate the half notes. You can play with the recorder. I usually used to like the tenor recorder, but you can play the recorder. Some of them, the Descant's quite cheap, and you can play anything you wish. It'll also teach you how to read music, and this is a great advantage. You can play pop music on it if you desire. You can play jazz on it. You can play what you want on a recorder, whereas you can't with this. Native American flute is designed basically to attune you to nature. I get told off by my spirit guide because I tend to drop into Irish music, and I've been told I am not to play ordinary written music on this flute. You play from feelings. Like if I meditate on the clouds, which I've done many times, I'll play as I feel about the clouds. If I meditate on water, I will do the same. I'll play on the meditation. It comes from here, not from preset notes and special timing and all this rubbish. If you want to get a classical side-blown flute, then yeah, you've got to start thinking differently. But these are simple instruments to play. The recorder, as it's known, is taught in most English schools. Like the tin whistle over here, I suppose is the Irish equivalent of this. And they teach that in schools as well. So it's different cultures have adapted the same system but called it different names. But we want to concentrate completely on this. It's a very spiritual instrument, and you can bond with it and get very, very attached to this type of flute. There is another one that was similar, and it's like two flutes joined together. This is what they call a drone flute. It gives a drone as you're playing. So the flute kind of accompanies your playing as well. But we'll come into that on a much later date. The later date is when I get one. But hopefully I'll be able to show you what that can do. Now, as I said, the same thing applies with this one. You can triple and tremolo it. You can tremble each note. This is done by breath control. You can double your note. You can do this. You add it all together to mimic nature as much as you can on the flute. This is what the Native Americans did. And it does work. And how long have I got, Adrian?
You got
Stop looking the camera.
5 minutes and 10 seconds.
Oh wow, I got 5 minutes and 10 seconds. The fingering, you'll find, is easy. It's more relaxed. It's not so spaced. As you get, say, to D, your fingers will separate and you're trying to get it here. If you go to bass, it's even more so, it's difficult. But with C major, it's nice and comfortable. Your thumb grips the back. Now don't try and press your fingers through the bloody thing, just hold it gently. But make sure the pads are right over the holes, otherwise you'll get a fluff note. And it can be corrected. I mean, you're playing for you, you're playing for spirit. I use flute for thanking spirit. I use flute for the morning chorus. I use flute late at night. In actual fact, Dark Raven will tell you when she's working away on the computer, there I am, playing away every now and again. I'll pick up the flute. When I have an instinct to pick it up, and I'll play. We've just got over Paddy's Day, and I'm afraid I was guilty of playing Irish music on the flute, which is very bold, very naughty, but I don't care. It was Paddy's Day, for God's sake. The excuse for the boozer. Oh yes. It's a good job I don't drink. So, we'll be dealing with a lot. You know, I think you know how the flute works. There's a block in here and the air will travel across here over the block, and then it's pushed over a little hole. This causes the same effect as if you were doing that, and it gives you perfect intonation. Now this flute's very special because Dark Raven one bought it for me, and I think it's a very special flute to me. And if you keep knocking that camera, the video is going to show. That's the third time.
Yes, Dad.
So okay, I'm going to play you out, and again, keep practicing, give me your comments or your ideas. Namaste, I'm Shanti.